One of the things that English learners struggle with is pronunciation of certain things, but especially of things that have a standard pronunciation, but which are pronounced differently, perhaps in your native language. I can think of plenty of examples of, for example, brand names that are pronounced one way in English, one way in the original language where that company comes from, the country that company comes from, and perhaps another way in a different language like Chinese. One of the biggest challenges for me was learning the pronunciation of brand names in Chinese after I had already learned those names in English. It's hard to sort of separate them out. And I've noticed a lot of students struggling with this problem. How do I say some of the popular brands that most of us know, how do I say those naturally in English? Now, before we get into this, we're going to be looking at a lot. Before we get into this, we're looking at 18 of them. I want to say one thing. Not all of these are American brands. And so what I'm going to teach you is how native English speakers, especially in America, say these brands, even if that's not the original pronunciation of that brand from, for example, Germany or Japan or whatever it may be, right? And we're not looking at this one, but let's say the example of Toyota. So Americans say Toyota, Toyota, Toyota. That's how we say the brand. But that's not quite how it's said in Japan. And it's a Japanese company. So you could say to yourself, okay, well, I'll just say it the Japanese way because Toyota is a Japanese company and I'll say it that way. Fine. But for some of these, it's useful to know how native English speakers say them, even if it's not the original pronunciation. So I'm not here to teach you original pronunciation. I'm here to teach you the American pronunciation. Okay? Got it? Does that make sense? Let's go through these. We're going to go through them relatively quickly. We're going to cover 18 popular brand names and the way or ways that they are pronounced. Are you ready? Chevrolet. Now this one is a little bit unique because people say it differently. Some people say Chevrolet. I know it looks like Chevrolet, but it's not. Some people say Chevrolet. And who am I to say that they're wrong? So you'll either hear Chevrolet or Chevrolet. People do say Chevrolet. Now, actually, the most common pronunciation of this one is Chevy. Yes, most people will call it a Chevy. Not a Chevy. I know it looks like Chevy. Not Chevy. Sh-e-v. Sh-e-vr-lay. Chevrolet. An incorrect pronunciation, Chevrolet. And then the most common, Chevy. 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 Next one. Nike. 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 Now, a lot of people mispronounce this one as Nike because we say, oh, I learned the rule. There's the silent E, right? The silent E. Ah, yeah, it makes the long sound. M-I-K-E, Mike. So that means N-I-K-E would be Nike, right? No, no. It's pronounced Nike. Nike. That is the pronunciation. Doesn't matter why. Not important why. That's how it's said. Nike. 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 Next one. Uber. Now this one looks like Uber, right? You may think, oh, it's the short U. Uber, Uber. Or Uber. Maybe Uber. Is it Uber? No. Americans will say this one as Uber. Uber. Now that is a weird sound and might not sound like native English, right? Because we don't have a lot of things which start with oo like that in English. Not as many as, for example, you, right? But here we say Uber. 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 Notice that hard sound. It's not a y, u, oo. Harder sound. Uber. Uber. Okay? Next one. IKEA. Just like me. IKEA. We're pronouncing every part of it. Now, I have no idea how to say this in the original Swedish. It might be the same. We pronounce it as IKEA. Like a ya at the end. Yeah. And that's, by the way, not their slogan. We throw in extra parts just to mess with you. I think that's a joke. I just found this picture and I thought it was funny. so I added it. I like this one. IKEA. 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 Next one. Adobe. Again, you might think, oh, silent E, long O, Adobe. No. Short A, do, O, B. Adobe. If you use Photoshop or any of those applications, you use Adobe. Adobe, 3 syllables. Adobe products. Adidas. Adidas. Now notice that we're not saying the clear A sound. This is what's called a schwa. We're not saying Adidas. Adidas. It's not Adidas. It's This is called the schwa sound. The schwa sound is a very relaxed vowel sound that's like this. And every vowel, A, E, I, O, and U, can make it. So we say schwa sound, D. That one is clearly pronounced, and then dus. Adidas, like that, okay? Adidas. Next one, Porsche. Now, a lot of native English speakers will say this as Porsche, just Porsche. You'll hear many people say Porsche. So I'm not saying that's correct. It's actually supposed to be pronounced Porsche, like SH sound. Even though it's not spelled with just an SH, it's pronounced Porsche, Porsche, 2 syllables, Porsche. But just to be clear, many Americans will say, you'll hear many people say Porsche, I got a Porsche. So you hear a lot of people say the 1-syllable version, although you're supposed to say the 2-syllable version of Porsche. Okay, next one. Audi. Notice it's not Audi. Not Audi. Ow. Just like AW. Ow. Now sometimes AW is aw, so it might be confusing, right? We have to just be careful about this one. Ow. Audi. Sometimes OW is pronounced this way, right? OW is usually, in fact, the ow sound, but in this case, it's pronounced ow with AUDI. I don't know why, that's just the way that it's pronounced. Audi. Next one. Dior. It looks like door. It looks like a weird word that I don't know how to say. Dior is how we say it. Dior. 2-syllable word. It doesn't sound like it. Dior. Well, it could be 1 syllable. No. Dior. 2-syllable word. Okay? Dior. Next one. Of course, you know how to say this one, right? McDonald's. We don't say Mac usually. Some people might say a little bit longer. That part of it might be a little bit longer. McDonald's. Some people will say it like that. Usually it's pronounced Mick. Very quick. Mick. Very, very quick. Put the M and the K sound as close as possible together. McDonald's is how it's pronounced. Next one. How do I say this? Is it Cisco is the right pronunciation. Cisco. In fact, there is a common rule. Usually if you have a C followed by an I, it will often be pronounced as a soft C or an S sound. But if you have a C before an O, then it's often going to be pronounced as a hard sound or a K sound. So the last C is pronounced co, and the first C is pronounced cis. The s are exactly the same, even though one is a C and one is an S. Cisco. Next one. Gillette. Now, I think that this is originally a French word. The way that it's spelled suggests that it is, but it's a very popular brand of razors. And we don't say the J, I as a clear I sound. We don't say Gillette. No. We say the schwa, Gillette. Gillette. We do say the T sound at the end. Budweiser. 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 Notice that we're stressing the first syllable here. Budweiser. Now, some people will pronounce this with a vi sound, visor, but we say the clear W. Americans like to use the W sound. Y, like W-I-S-E, so wise. Wise, and then So remember wiser, and then just put bud in front of it. Budweiser. 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 Actually, I think that one's pretty simple. Now, this one, obviously, it's not an American company, and we don't pronounce it the same way as Germans do. I believe the correct pronunciation of this one in German is something like Volkswagen, something like that, where the W is pronounced as more like a V sound. But Americans just say it as it looks in English spelling, which is Volkswagen. You know how Americans like to have that sound in there, right? Well, it's there. It's there. Volkswagen. Volkswagen. Now, sometimes we just say VW. Oh, you got a VW? Oh, nice VW. That's nice, right? But we still often say also Volkswagen. Volkswagen. Not wagon, not wagon, but wagon. Wagon. Volkswagen. Next one. Amazon. 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 Notice that this and the m are not the same. It's not Amazon. Amazon. They're not the same. One is a clear short A sound. The other one is more like the schwa sound. M. That relaxed sound. And then zon, a very clear sound. Amazon. 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 Next one. Should this one be Visa or Visa? Visa or Visa? Now, actually, people will say it both ways. You will hear some people say, can I pay by Visa? Do you take Visa? That is not how you're supposed to say it. It's supposed to be pronounced Visa. Visa. Sa, which is an unvoiced S sound. Visa. 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 Okay? So if people say Visa, you don't have to correct them. I guess it's okay because many people do say Visa. Do you take Visa card? Can I pay with a Visa? Can you take my Visa? Right? But you should say Visa. Visa. Everywhere. What is the slogan of Visa? Everywhere you want to be. Was that MasterCard? I don't know. I don't care. Next one. Spa. Not Spo. I've heard many people say Spo. I'm getting Spotify. 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 It's not Spotify. It's spa. 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 Spotify. Spotify. Now notice, I'm not saying Spotify. I'm not pronouncing the T sound in a very strong way. I'm not saying Spotify. Spotify. Very light T sound sounds like a light D, right? Spotify. Spotify. Last one. Subaru. Now, if we slow it down, it's su. Ba, not ba. Ru. Right? So we don't say the sound clearly. It's more like the schwa sound. Ba. And then the stress is on the first syllable. Su. Ba. Not ba. Ba. Ru. Subaru. So that's how we pronounce it. Those are 18 common brand names and how Americans tend to say them. I recognize and realize that maybe it's said differently in different countries, even if it's the origin of that company. I'm just trying to tell you how native English speakers, especially Americans, say these brand names. Hopefully that's useful. Guys, practice those. Get a feeling for them. Repeat them many times until it feels natural. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you also subscribe so that you can see future videos. And don't forget to check out my full English courses in the links in the description. If you're working on your pronunciation, for example, I have 2 pronunciation courses that should help you get a feeling for a lot of these vowel sounds. All right. Thanks for watching.